Hari Om, Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaskara to all. Sadashiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. Shubhodaya. A warm welcome to everyone to this global festival of oneness. This is a month-long festival on Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavad Para, covering various aspects and topics of Advaita Vedanta. This is your host Soumya here. Today we have a very eminent speaker, Swamini Svatmavidyananda Vidya Saraswati ji. And the topic she's going to speak is Advaita Vedanta through the lens of Dakshinamurti Stotram. We are blessed by your presence. My humble pranams to you, Swamini ji. A brief introduction on Swamini ji. Dr. Swamini Svatmananda Vidya Saraswati ji has taught at several universities nationally, including UC Berkeley, and she is widely recognized as a scholar of Advaita Vedanta and is a disciple of Sri Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji, an internationally known Acharya of Advaita Vedanta tradition and interfaith and scholastic author of Vedanta, responsible for the inception of All India Movement of Seva, which is also called as AIM for Seva. It is a non-profit organization enabling rural Indian children to receive a proper education. Swamini ji is widely in demand for lectures and seminars in the USA and internationally for her expertise in interreligious engagement and in-depth training and scholarship on Advaita Vedanta. Swamini ji is the Acharya of Ashra Vijnana Gurukulam, which was founded in 2004 and has centers in Atlanta, Eugene, Washington, D.C., Detroit, and Milwaukee, and Fort Myers. Over to you, Swamini ji.
Thank you very much to Soumya for your introduction. Thank you to Indica Moksha for organizing yet one more year of the Global Festival of Oneness. I like that it's called a festival because that oneness which one seeks is indeed a celebration. And so it goes on, and each talk in this festival is like a small little pearl in a necklace, I suppose, a gem, a pearl that highlights one particular issue or an aspect of this oneness that everybody craves and everybody wants to partake. And the topic for today is the vision of Advaita through the lens of the Dakshinamurti Stotram. Advaita means non-duality. It's another way of saying oneness. When we say oneness, we say it in a positive way, and when we say Advaita, we say it in through a mechanism of negation. Through a mechanism of negation, meaning non-duality. In English also we have this, non-duality. And so this is very interesting. And so why should we say something in through negation rather than positively oneness? Maybe there is no word in Sanskritam for oneness. That is not true. Aikya, ekasya bhava, one, and then ekasya bhava, aikya. Ekata, aikya, ekatvam, so many, all these words literally mean oneness. And even though one can creatively say Aikya Vidya, we can say that, and we will not be wrong at all. Still, it is much more famous as Advaita, Advaita Vidya. the knowledge of non-duality. Why is this the case? Why is this that in grammar, in our usage of the grammar, and in every other area of our life, we want the positive way of speaking? We want to sort of directly say, what is it that we want? What is it that one wants? Grammatically and in speech also. And so, therefore, this is very intriguing. Why is it that only here we just keep negating this? There are two reasons for it. The first reason is in our own perception of what we call duality. Duality means there is something other than me. That's enough. Whether that other thing is a cockroach or a lion or another person, it doesn't matter. That there is something other than me itself is duality. And that is on the perceptible level, one's reality, until one understands the truth of one's nature through the study of Vedanta Shastra. Vedantaika Pramanam. Vedanta alone is the antidote to this duality. Because this duality, if it is real, that means it cannot be removed. This Dvaita that we see every day, so many people are there in my life, most of them I do not like, and the rest of them I like, but they don't like me. This is the samsara that one is living in. And so, therefore, what is this? What is this non-duality? This is a very important question. And so, this duality that is around me, and frankly, even within me, because one part of my heart, which wants to do the right thing, cannot reconcile with the other part of the heart, which says the ends justify the means. Doesn't matter. Flout through, ride roughshod over dharma. Nothing will happen. Go against your own principles. We just need the results. So there is an inner conflict, inner duality, outer duality. And all this is what I see. Advaya or oneness is not something that I see. It is not something that I see because, in effect, it is the truth of me. That is what it is. It is not an object. It is the very nature, the content of the subject. The subject who is seeking this non-duality happens to be one with everything. Happens to be the only source of awareness, consciousness in this universe. The only sentient being is the I. And so the first reason why we say non-duality with an emphasis on non is that this duality which is seen everywhere is not the reality. Therefore, non-duality. It's not the reality. Even though it appears as the reality, is not the reality. And to make that clear right in the beginning, this is what is talked about, non-duality. Very, very interesting. That's the first reason why we say non-duality. The second reason is also very interesting because the teaching tradition, the sampradaya, the Advaita sampradaya. What is this sampradaya? The sampradaya says that the sampradaya comes with the gurus, and all the gurus who have studied from their guru, from their guru, from their guru, all the way to the Adi Guru who is behind me, whose picture you see. Lord Dakshinamurti, more about him a little later. And so, in the sampradaya, there is a tradition that the teaching is given partly through the negation. Negation becomes an important pedagogical tool in order to teach. This becomes very, very important. Negation itself becomes an important tool for the teaching to take place. Why is that? Why does negation become an important tool for the teaching to take place? Negation becomes an important tool for the teaching to take place primarily because the Atma Ajnanam, self-ignorance, causes problem through the affirmation of wrong ideas and wrong identifications. I am as good as the body. Dehe nashte aham nashtah. Dehe pushte aham pushtah. I'm as good as this body. If the body is nourished, I am nourished. If the body is wasting away, I am wasting away. This is the feeling. And it is so real. It is so real. And that's why people say Vedanta doesn't work. I had a wonderful time. 1 week retreat I went. And when I went for 1 month retreat here, 1 week retreat there. And during the retreat, it was all wonderful. Then I came back to the world of duality. Because there is a well entrenched orientation, a well entrenched orientation that this alone is the reality. That which is perceived, that which is felt through the sense organs, that which is inferred, this is what is the reality. But the teaching has to negate that. That which is well affirmed and well entrenched in the form of notions about the I, about the Jagat, the perceived universe, and about the creator of the Jagat, if there is one. There are well entrenched notions that each one is separate from the other. And this separation causes anxiety. That is, this anxiety is that which brings one to Vedanta. The anxiety itself brings one to Vedanta, Vedanta Shastra, and so therefore this is this is what has to the teaching tradition has an inbuilt pedagogy of negation borrowed from the Upanishads, famously known as Neti Neti Neti, Na iti na iti na iti na iti, Neti Neti Neti. And so this neti neti means what? This is not so. This is not so. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not the senses. You are not the composite of all this plus your ahamkara. What are you? You are Ishvara, the cause of, you are one with Ishvara, the cause of this universe. But how can I be Ishvara? That is why Vedanta Shastra has to work. And so therefore the second reason is because the teaching tradition itself has an inbuilt pedagogy of teaching through negation. That is why the Bhagavad Gita, when the teaching starts, Lord Krishna also uses the negative particle ashocyanandvashocastvam. There also the same philosophy, the same pedagogy is deployed. So therefore, this teaching of non-duality, the sacred knowledge through which the samsara that is carried in the head in between these two temples, that is where samsara is, even though we like to say it is outside, it is not outside. It is samsara is wherever the I is recognized, there is the samsara. And unless one recognizes the I as the cause of the universe, as Satchidanandam Brahma, this samsara will not cease. And so therefore, the Dakshinamurti Stotram offers a very beautiful interruption to this, to the broods of Atma Ajnanam in the form of wrong association, wrong identification. First of all, who is this Dakshinamurti? The Guru, teacher of teachers, Bhagavan in the form of the teacher. Just like there has to be a first mother through which all the humanity has come, there has to be the first father, there has to be the first mother. Similarly, we have the first Guru embodied in a beautiful Shilpa Shastra, Agama Shastra, beautiful iconography of that which is non-separate from you. In fact, the whole iconography of Lord Dakshinamurti screams non-duality, proclaims non-duality, shouts non-duality. Shall I continue?
Yes, please,
Yes.
Swamiji.
The whole Dakshinamurti Stotram shouts non-duality through the rooftops, and it proclaims it in a very beautiful way, and that is what we are going to just briefly look at. We are going to briefly look at that, because the Dakshinamurti Stotram is very huge. We don't have the time to look at all the verses, but we will have a little glimpse on how this stotram is composed and how it works. So the very embodiment of Lord Dakshinamurti is is a embodiment of non-duality. How? Because it includes everything. Lord Dakshinamurti is called Ashtamurti. Ashta means eight. A murti, an embodiment that has eightfold aspects. So first we have all the five elements. So you see here, if you can see the cursor, you see the upper arm with the firebrand. So there is fire, and then the whole murti is of stone. So we have stone. There is Ganga in the forehead, carried on the head. That is the water element, fire, water, earth. And then there is the damaru carried here, which is the sound. So sound means space. So space is there, earth is there, fire is there, water is there, and the dreadlocks that are tied up here is a nod to the air element. All the five elements, and then there are the sun and the moon, which are there on the head, the two celestials, and then that is seven. What is the eighth aspect? You who is looking at Bhagavan. That is the eighth aspect. Amazing. So that is why it's an embodiment of this knowledge. And so therefore, in understanding this, there is a beautiful stotra called Dakshinamurti Stotra, and this Dakshinamurti Stotra is attributed to Adi Shankara, a very terse set of verses, but at the same time very beautiful, and at the same time something that really brings forth the teaching completely. And so when we look at the Dakshinamurti Stotram, we see the world, we see the Guru, and we see the Shastra, and we see oneself. One also sees oneself, the Jiva, in a very different way than what is normally understood. So we'll just briefly look at the first couple of verses to get an idea of how the stotra usually means a praise song. A praise song, or verses of praise, or sentences of praise, which end in namaha, salutation, surrender. So here, the thing is this, that when one praises Bhagavan, one cannot but praise the truth of oneself, because the truth of oneself is Bhagavan. Then why not praise, oneself, because one does not see that truth? One can see that truth in Bhagavan. Om Sarvatmane Namaha. We can see that. And you are the truth of all beings. Om Sarva Shakti Mataye Namaha. You are the salutations unto one who is all Bala, Shakti, who is the Shakti that is behind the projection of this universe. Salutations unto that person, unto that Bhagavan. And who is the one who says, who is the one who is chanting this, considers oneself to be Nishakti, purely from the standpoint of the body, mind, sense complex. And so, without much ado, Let us look at the first verse. Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari. Let me see if I can share so you can also enjoy this. Let me see if I can share this thing. Are you able to see? Yes?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah. Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyantijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivo Bhutam Yatha Nidraya. Doesn't give the other two here. Yes, Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Svatma Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. It doesn't give the other two lines, but doesn't matter. At least a little bit you saw. Okay, so just to get a little idea of this, very, very beautiful, melodious, composed in a meter called Shardula Vikredita, a very famous meter for many stotras. And what does Shardula Vikredita mean? The baby tiger at play. The baby tiger thinks itself to be a kitten and goes around just batting a few leaves and butterflies and everything, and it doesn't know fully its power yet. But then it goes this way, that way, undulates, watches something, pounces, and then goes. And that's so does the meter. The meter itself is very beautiful, undulating, and at the same time eminently powerful. So Vishwan Darpana Drishyamala Nagari. I salute that Dakshinamurti, who is in the form of my teacher, who clearly knows his own non-dual reality upon waking to the truth, and who sees this universe as if manifested outside due to the Maya Shakti, although it exists within himself. Himself means herself also, because that Shakti is a she, as though in a dream, where the universe is likened to a mirror. That is what it means. This is really the essence of Vedanta. Beautiful. And so the Guru Murti means the embodied teacher. Teacher is who? The teacher is the one in whom the knowledge of oneness shines. The teacher who is Brahman, who is everything, who is the truth of the self, who is not thinking, I am as good as the body, etc., etc. That is the teacher. And so the teacher is the one who is already the blossomed manifestation of Brahman, unfolded. Okay, who is the student? The student is the subject matter of Vedanta. Amazing. The student is nothing but the subject matter of Vedanta, and then this subject matter of Vedanta is just is that which is just getting unfolded through the teaching. So now you see who is the teacher and who is the student. And the teacher is unfolding Brahman, and the teacher is unfolding the student's nature. This is Dakshinamurti Stotram. This is why it is so important, because this is how it is. Even in this one verse, the entire Vedanta Shastra comes. And so, what does this verse say? There is a mirror. It's all about the play of mirrors. And what is this mirror about? The mirror is just like, there is let's imagine that there is a big city, and then there is a mirror set up, aerial mirror set up, huge mirror, and it's reflecting the city. It is reflecting all the two-wheelers going by, the cars going by, the hawkers selling their wares, and then people, the pedestrians walking by, the shops slowly opening, and then the people coming and going. All this the mirror is reflecting. And the birds flying are also seen in the mirror. Clouds passing are also seen in the mirror. And the question now is this. What is the question? The question is that when you look at the mirror, you know, when you see the mirror, what is the connection between the city seen in the mirror and the mirror? And when the moving city is seen in the mirror, does the mirror undergo any change? Of course, the answer is no. The mirror does not undergo any change to become the city. Even though one sees varieties of things, three-dimensional picture is seen, but there's only one surface. There's only one surface. If you see the bird flying in the mirror and you try to catch it, there is no bird. There is only the mirror. This is Ekameva Advitiya. The whole, so the example is the mirror and the reflection. That's all we have to focus on. The mirror and the reflection. Without the mirror, no reflection is possible. And the reflection has an existent reality, has an existence. The reflection does have an existence. What is that existence? The existence is an as though perception. It's a perception. It's an as though existence. In fact, it's a dependent existence. So the city that is seen in as the reflection in the mirror is but dependent upon the mirror for its existence. You remove the mirror, no city. No, but I can see with my eyes. All right, remove the eyes. No city. No city. No mirror, no city. And then supposing there is, so the mirror, can the mirror exist without the city? Yes. Can the city exist without the mirror? No. That is exactly the purport of this verse. That is, there are not two things. There are number of things in the mirror. Let's say there is water in the reflection. The mirror is reflecting now a lake on the outskirts of the city. Let's say it's a moving mirror that is reflecting all kinds of things. So the lake on the outskirts of the city has ripples and waves in it. But then the ripples and waves do not cause a turbulence in the mirror, neither does the water make the mirror wet. Now the mirror is going through a dusty portion of the city. And then what? Then the mirror does not become dusty just because it is reflecting the dust. Now the mirror is going through the mountain tops and reflecting the clouds. And then what? The mirror does not become cloudy. Mirror is swachha, nirmala, unstained, unafflicted, without the trace of anything that is reflected left behind. Nothing that is reflected leaves its footprint on the mirror, leaving the mirror free to reflect more and more things without taking on any other thing, any one thing. The mirror is one's awareness. The name for this awareness is Chaitanya. It's nothing but Atma. Atma. Mirror is Atma. Atma means what? Myself. That is Nagari Tulya. The Jagat is the Nagari Tulyam. The whole creation is Nagari Tulyam. And like the mirror, wherein various things are reflected, things are as though superimposed upon this Chaitanya, upon this awareness. And between the two, the reflection and the awareness, one is called mithya and as though reality, and the other one is real truth. The one non-dual awareness to which nothing happens is real, and the creation itself is an apparent reality. That is why the verse starts with the word the Vishwam. Vishwam means what? Vividha pratyayena gamyam iti. Vividha pratyaya gamyam. That which is perceived through many, many cognitions. There are so many cognitions, eyes, cognition through the ears, cognition through the tongue. Oh, this tastes like sugar. Cognition through the olfactory nerves. Oh, this is the smell of rose flower, like this. Cognition. This is the cognition. And what is it that powers the cognition? The eyes are not the ones that see. There is a power behind the eyes, and that is the power of awareness. Chaitanya in the form of the eyes goes, as it were, and then feels. So through the eyes, through the ears, etc. It's that same light of awareness. नाना चित्रघटोपरस्थितमः दीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति स तमेव भान्तमनुभात्येतत् समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. Beautiful. It's just like a lamp, one lamp. Let's say that is covered with an earthen pot-like structure with many apertures. And sometimes in ancient India, they used to do this to entertain the children. This is the ancient disco ball to entertain the children. And so that one light used to come through the aperture in the shape of a star, and the child, and then in a dark room, this would be just moved around. The mother would move it around to entertain or to quieten the child. And then the child would see, oh, there's a star. Oh, there is a doggy. Look, that's a bird. Look, this is a human being, a stick figure. Each one looks like a light, but really speaking, there is only one light. Similarly, the pratyaya, the pratiti, the cognition of the jagat takes place through these apertures. Let's say this head is like the pot that is as though covering the light. It's not really covering. So this head is like the pot, but the pot has apertures in the form of the eyes, in the form of the ears, in the form of the mouth, the tongue, the nostrils, etc. At least 5 apertures that you see. Plus, all these things we can bring in inference and everything. These are all ways of knowing. How does sight take place? It's not that the eyes see, otherwise a dead person's eyes also should see. They don't see. That's why to ascertain whether the person is alive or not, you shine a light into the eyes, you go like this. And then when there is no response, okay, gone. That means it's not the body that is capable of seeing. The eyes are, after all, an anatomical part. It's not even the mind that is capable of seeing. It is that awareness which powers the mind, which in turn powers the eyes to go and, so to speak, grasp at the object of awareness. A rose, a pot, anything. And then it's as though the light goes out and picks up the information and brings it back to the mind, which reports, this is pot, I am ghataha. Fantastic. And so this whole universe and you have a very interesting relationship. A relationship that is taken to be the reality, but actually a relationship that is much like the relationship between you and the shadow that you cast. Nobody says, I have neglected my shadow. Now it is time to take care of the shadow. Nobody says. And if you walk on the river and the shadow falls into the water, you don't say, I need a towel, otherwise the shadow will catch a cold, I need to dry off the shadow. No. You go, shadow comes along. You are the Satyam, you are that light of awareness which cognizes everything. The whole Jagat goes into a zone of that which is cognized. Between the cognizer and the cognized, there can be really no relationship. No relationship. Why? One is Chaitanya, alive, sentient. That which is cognized is Jada, insentient. One is capable of cognition, the other one is dependent upon that source which needs to cognize it in order to be cognized. One is an independent reality, all encompassing independent reality, the other one is a dependent reality. Just through that verse, you know, this Adarsha Nagari Tulya, Darpana Nagari Tulya. Just through that mirror image, so the whole Vedanta Shastra, the whole non-duality is conveyed. And now when you cry that, oh, my stomach is hurting, if you cry like a small child who doesn't want to go to school, I have a stomach ache, I have a headache, I have body ache, all these aches are there. But those aches need a cognizer. That's why if you take a pain pill and then go to sleep, in sleep, what is cognized? Nothing other than yourself. And that self-cognition is also held in abeyance because the mind which broadcasts this cognition is in a state of repose. And that's why you have to wake up and then say, OMG, I slept so well, I didn't even know what was happening. That's what makes you say that. This is just so fantastic, just gorgeous, amazing. So then you may see many things, and that whatever you see is not you. Na idam, na idam, na idam, na iti, na iti, na iti, na iti. So what is this awareness? This is that which is minus space, minus time, minus mass, minus energy. So then this world is separate from others. This is what it is. Anything that is there in the world is nothing but awareness. Awareness is not this world. Every name and form is awareness because awareness gives it existence, gives the world its existence. Just like when I say this is pot, the pot is as good as existent when I call out its existence. So too this awareness gives every name and form existence. But it is not, it is free from all of them. All of them. All of them. And that is the whole idea. So what is this whole world? The whole world, even though it shines, so to speak, outside, is nothing but awareness. Awareness shines in the mind. The mind is the knower. The mind is that, and it shines in the mind. And then it is the awareness is non-separate from the knower. The knower is a manifestation of awareness. And then what is the known? The known is also a manifestation of awareness. And then the knowing, the means of knowing, which is through sight, sound, etc., that is also nothing but awareness. So that awareness which morphs into as though subject and object are both subject and object, the sakshi, the witness, and that is saksha, with the witnessed, are both manifestations, superimpositions as though of that awareness and that Chaitanya Atma, which is myself alone, which has no imperfection, no defect. The defect belongs to the world that is full of potholes, the world that is full of ups and downs, etc. Nothing. No valleys, no mountains, nothing. So it's just like clouds hanging in front of the mirror, but the mirror is not affected by the clouds. Similarly, the Atma is totally uninvolved with the world. With the world. Nirvikara. Nirvikara means not subject to any change. What is the Jagat? Vikaratmakam Jagat. The world is changing all the time. And that the changing world is broadcast by the non-changing awareness. Just like you see in the mirror. you see the traffic, you see the lake, you see the river, etc., etc. And that is the whole idea. And then the and in this reflected universe, all kinds of people are there, varieties of people walking, going, everything, and all this is reflected in your awareness, the reflection between the relationship, sorry, between the mirror and the reflection is the same as the reflection between Chaitanya Atma, the awareness, and the world. And as though one is seeing, everything within. It's like a dream nagari. Dream nagari. But then how come this dream nagari has come? This dream nagari, how come it has come? It hasn't come. It hasn't come. It hasn't gone. Who made the dream nagari? If Atma is just like the mirror cannot create. How can you say you can create? You can't create. Yes, true. Atma cannot create. Cognition, awareness cannot create. Then what is it that creates? Maya Shakti. What is this Maya Shakti? And as though power, which as it were, so to speak, makes this awareness, morphs this awareness, as it were, into that which has names and forms. So the awareness itself shines through names and forms, same awareness. So she who is this Shakti provides the names and forms for this awareness to reside as the significant other in your life, for this awareness to reside as a pet dog or cat that you love so much, for this awareness to reside as some dear object to you, an heirloom that was inherited from the grandmother, or the mother or the father, something dear to you which has sentimental value, that too is awareness. That too is Satchidananda. That too is Atma. But what is missing is the Sukshma Shariram, the wherewithal to say, for that object to say, I am alive. That is not there. It is alive, but it doesn't have the capacity to declare it. It is all Chaitanya. It is all awareness. It's all sentience. But the sentience has as though split into the knower and the known. Now, what is this awareness? Is it the knower? Yes. Is it the knower? Yes, but can you please tell me this definitively? The knower is nothing but awareness. The known is nothing but awareness. But what is awareness? Neither the knower nor the known. It lends its presence to the knower, and it lends its presence to the known without becoming the knower, and without becoming the known, without becoming the Jagat, so to speak. It lends its presence to the Jagat without becoming the Jagat. And now so the Jagat is mithya. Mithya means it's got an as though reality. And then where did this come from? It never came. It was a latent possibility. The creation is a latent possibility, just like the tree whose whole entire DNA is a possibility in the sprout. Bijasyantarivangkuro jagadidam prang punaha Maya kalpita desha kala kalana vaichitra chitrikritam Maya viva vijrimbayatyapi maha yogi vayasvechaya tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Beautiful. So just like Bijasya Ankuraha Iva. So like even in the seed, the entire knowledge of the tree is hidden. If you cut open the seed, you don't see a tiny tree inside, no. But the knowledge is there. That's why if you just hide it underground, this is how Maya Shakti works invisibly. If you hide it under the ground, nourish it with some water, it sprouts up. It knows what to do. It knows how to grow. It knows where to go. It doesn't confuse itself. The oak tree when you plant the acorn, the oak tree doesn't confuse itself to be a creeper and starts growing sideways. No. Then intelligence is there, and it needs the sunlight, and if the sunlight is obstructed, it will grow like that. It will grow around the obstruction to make sure it is nourished and to make sure it has food through the sun. And food means it cooks in the sun. Yeah, it needs the for us this whatever this gas cooking, electric cooking. For that the plants make their food by solar cooking. So that it is the leaf is the has the ability to make food. And if that sun is blocked because of a building or because of some obstruction, it will go around it. That is the intelligence, that is the knowledge, that is Ishvara. That is Ishvara, that is Maya Shakti. That tree itself, that knowledge of the trees, that all knowledge of Ishvara, Maya Shakti, Ichha Shakti, the desire to create. And that desire is, of course, contingent upon the jivas wanting a playground to exhaust all our karmas. That is what the thing is. And then this Maya Shakti, which as it were, creates the whole as though creation, like even in a dream. And then one takes this creation to be the reality. Oh, somebody is chasing me. Prarabdha karma, his name is. He is chasing me. Sanchita karma is chasing me. One more fellow. Three kind of dacoits, gundas are chasing me. And one wakes up frightened. Who is chasing? Nobody. When you wake up, prabodha samaye means at the time of this knowledge. At the time of this knowledge, the eclipse of the universe, the eclipse of Atma Ajnanam. Atma Ajnanam means the self-ignorance is dispelled. So why is there an eclipse? As though eclipse is because I take this, I misunderstand the creation. I know I am, but please don't ask the next question. Who are you? What are you? The answer that will come is unsurprising. Idiot. Why do you think you're an idiot? Because that's what the parents called me when I was small and when I was not able to do anything and when I made the same mistakes over and over again. This is the answer that will come. And so, therefore, this is something very, so profound. This is. And so that same knowledge which is Shakti for Bhagavan, that's why Dakshinamurti is both masculine and feminine. And a clever sculptor will make the left side of the face much more feminine looking than the right side. And the left ear has a feminine earring, female earring. And the right side has a masculine earring. Very, very interesting this Shilpa Shastra is. So the Shakti is nothing but Bhagavan. And that we have to understand that the Shakti and the Bhagavan cannot be separated. They are intrinsically connected. That's why all the manifestations of Bhagavan in the Shastra are what? Are happily married. They are all happily married. Amazing it is. Absolutely amazing it is. And then so this is all Nijantargatam. Within, quote unquote, within that awareness, the whole universe of names and forms exist. And I, because of my own ignorance, take this too seriously. This is also explained in one of the subsequent verses. Rahubrasta divakarindu sadrisho maya samachadana सन्मात्रः करणोपसंहरणतो यो भूत्सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्समिति प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. Like the sun and the moon, covered as it were by Rahu, the obfuscating planet. So we say, in English we say eclipse, but we have Rahu and Ketu, the eclipsing fire, the shadow planets. So the shadow of the earth falling, on the sun or the moon is called Rahu. And so suddenly we say, oh no, where has the sun gone? What happened? Sun went, no sun. And everybody panics. But you see eclipse. You still see the eclipse. That means what? The sun can never be covered. It is as though covered. In fact, because of the light of the sun, you see the eclipse. It's just very, very fascinating. You see this eclipsing, the Rahu gobbling up the sun, so to speak. Similarly, in that the awareness that shines through the mind is as though eclipsed by my own Atma Ajnanam. And what is this Atma Ajnanam? A personal mithya. First, we have the objective mithya in the universe, the objective mithya which everyone can see. It is there, therefore I see it. I see the tree, you see the tree, I see the lake, you see the lake, I see the traffic, you see the traffic, and it is there. But then there is mithya within mithya. The empirical mithya is not a problem because that is easily transcended through this understanding of these verses. The objective mithya is not an issue. One can be taught that all this is one. The problem is the subjective mithya. And that is what is the Rahu here. The Rahu is the subjective mithya. And what is the subjective mithya? I see, therefore it must be there. This is subjective mithya. It is there, therefore I see it. Empirical, objective mithya. I see it, so therefore it must be there. Subjective mithya. Like even the snake on the road. So I see the snake because I'm afraid of snakes and there is not enough light. And so similarly, I mistake this body, mind, sense complex. I mistake all other forms of creation. I see them through the lens of this Atma Ajnanam, which is what? Rahu here in this verse. I see them through the lens of this Atma Ajnanam, which means the covering which causes a distortion. So the shadow is that which causes a distortion. So the moon does not look like the moon when it is eclipsed. The sun does not look like the sun when it is eclipsed. So similarly, the world does not look like the world. The world that Bhagavan made, the world that Bhagavan has projected, does not look like Bhagavan's world when I look at it through the eyes of Raga, Dvesha, which are the manifestations of personal mithya. My own preferences, my own prejudices, when I project them onto the world, I'm leading a parallel reality to that of Bhagavan. Bhagavan is doing his own, her own projection in the form of this whole benign universe that is unable to touch me. Not knowing this, I have so many fears, so many tears, so many projections, and I mistake the world to be inimical to me because of the fact that it is not giving me what I want, because of the fact that it is only giving me what I don't want. And so I mistake this world to be out to get me, just like the shadow puppets. And so in Indonesian, we have this, so Patachitra. This is a very ancient thing. It is called Patachitra. And so these shadow puppets, sometimes there are dancing figures. Oh, how lovely. Suddenly there is a big Vyagra, tiger. Oh no. Oh, audience, audience is sometimes children. Because the tiger real and about to pass. Why? Because of this personal mithya. Everything is out to get me. Nobody loves me. I am an idiot. Why me? Why are all these things happening to me? Why the neighbor has good karma and I have bad karma? This is all personal mithya. And then that itself is dispelled through the teaching of the Dakshinamurti Stotram and other stellar, most exalted works on Vedanta. Sakshat Tattvamasi iti, Veda Vachasa, Yo Bodhayati Ashritan. That Dakshinamurti who teaches Bodhayati. Unto whom? Ashritan, to the ones who take refuge. To the ones who take refuge at the feet of this knowledge will come. Definitely will come. the inner mithya, the personal mithya, which I thought was a coping mechanism, and it covered me and protected me as a child like a cape. Now this cape is is a dunce cap. Vidya, this cape has become a dunce cap, and not only that, this cape is stifling me. Too tight. I need to get off. But how? Then one way to do this is to go to somebody and then say, "Oh, the cape is strangling me. Please get off the cape." But you go to Guru Murti in the form of Dakshinamurti, and what does Dakshinamurti do? He revolutionizes your vision, where you then ask the question, "What cape? What cap? What cape? Was I sleeping? Now I'm awake. Oh, wonderful." That is the idea. And therefore, we always say in prayer, we don't ask Bhagavan, don't ask Bhagavan Dakshinamurti or any Ishta Devata. Don't say, please don't give me problems, oh Lord, please don't make my life full of problems. That means you're giving the problems a reality. You're giving the non-reality a reality. This is the words I want to end with. Always say, may I be bigger than whatever the perception is, whatever comes, may I be bigger than that. May I have the ability to confront my personal apasmara. Apasmara is this demonic being at the feet of the Lord.
We've run into the problem again.
That is the demonic being at the feet of the Lord. All of one's wrong notions are this apasmara alone. And this apasmara gives shobha, is appropriate at the feet of the Lord. Heal means Healheel. And the teaching of the Dakshinamurti Stotram teaches one how to bring one's apasmara under one's management, so that it does not, apasmara means the one who haunts by memory, so that I'm not haunted by any kind of wrong memories, bad perceptions, wrong understanding, misperception, etc., etc. And therefore, don't ask Bhagavan, don't give me problems. Say, may I have the ability to confront this mithya within mithya. May I have the ability to drop the parallel reality because of which causes suffering. May I have the ability to see the world as you intended. May I have the ability to know ultimately, and most importantly, may I have the ability to know that I am non-separate from you, and I was never separate from you. And so this is what gives the shanti, the Atma Shanti, the Shanti that is lasting. This is what is the teaching that gives the Shanti. This is why the seeing the vision of non-duality and oneness through the lens of the Dakshinamurti Stotram is very, very, very fruitful. Thank you very much for coming and for your wonderful attention. Thanks to Indika Moksha for organizing this. I do not know if we have time for questions or what. I will let Soumya ji decide all that. She will have an idea. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you for that profound talk, Swami. Thank you for that profound talk on Swamiji. We will take a couple of questions, okay? The first question is, where is the element representing sun in the Murti of Dakshinamurti? Is the understanding correct to say that the eighth in Ashtamurti is the Yajamani, that is the worshipper himself, the one who is meditating, the Jnata himself?
Yes, that's what I said. The one who is looking at the Lord. That's why I said the eighth element is you. Don't say Yajamani, one who is meditating. Say the eighth element is me, the one who is looking at the Lord. The sun and the moon are on the left, the right and the left side of the head of the Lord. Usually in the iconography, you can see that. Okay? Yeah. Then the next question, what is the Sakshi?
Question is of BMSI or transaction
world. Sense complex, I suppose. Or the transaction world. So the witness, both. I would say both. The Sakshi is the witness of your own body, your own mind, your own senses. And because the world starts with your own body, mind, sense complex. Your body is not separate from the world, from the five elements. Okay, yeah, it's easy to leave oneself out. Yeah, like the 10th man in the Advaita story. Then we have one more. You have explained the cognition. What is the true
Met-
meaning
Hmm.
of cognition in Indian philosophical knowledge system? Cognition is when you know something. You say, Janami, I know. That is cognition. And that knowing takes place through the five means of knowledge, through so many other means of knowledge we have, like anumana, inference, arthapati, multiple level inference, and cognition of absence, and comparison with something else, etc., etc. Yeah. So that is what is cognition. And then there is one more way to understand the cognition means ways of knowing. And one more way of knowing oneself is the pramana called Vedanta Shastra. That is also one more way of cognizing the truth of oneself by eliminating all the wrong notions. Is Maya Shakti same as Prakriti? Yes.
Same as Prakriti.
Yeah, same. Do the terms awareness and consciousness mean the same? Yes, I like to use both. I like to use awareness because it's immediately clear. And then I kind of graduate to consciousness because awareness is pratyagatma, consciousness is that which is that awareness, which is the truth of this universe. What is that called? The Swarupa. Swarupa. That is the Swarupa of Brahman. Then the next one, when is the world non-different? When the world is non-different from the self, where is the question of Maya? What is the need to introduce this mere concept? Are Advaya and Maya non-different from the self? Uh, there is no need to introduce this. If this knowledge is already understood by everybody, there is no need to introduce anything. You can just rest in the glory of the Mahima of the self. Atma Mahimni Tishtati. One can just rest in the glory of the self. No problem at all. But the problem is because one doesn't know. And one takes the Maya to be real. That's why Maya has to be talked about. Otherwise, there is no need to talk about Maya. There's no need to talk about the world also. If you are if you have this knowledge, there is no need to talk about either the world or the Maya. Not needed. It is needed primarily because one is ensconced in it in the form of ajnana. Maya is ajnana. Avidya and Maya, yes, they are, the self is not avidya, but avidya is not opposed to the self because the self transcends avidya. That is what you have to know. Okay. And then there were some interruptions. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. This happens sometimes. Can you please explain what is the mithya within mithya? Mithya means, mithya is that which is the empirical reality. There are mountains, so I see them. Okay, and then mithya within mithya means I see something, therefore it is real. I see that somebody is frowning at me, therefore I come to the conclusion that person hates me. Whereas that person may be frowning or squinting because they couldn't see something or they were about to sneeze. So that's why they were frowning. But I interpret it as through my own lens. My own lens of this personal duality, which comes in the way of the lens of non-duality. That is what is mithya within mithya. Okay. Yeah. Then I think one more is there. What is that?
Thanksgiving for your
Yeah.
expression with simply way of rendering the awareness of one's.
All Guru's grace. Thank you.
Thank you, Swaminiji, for that. We will end today's session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Yeah, sure. We will see you all again in the next session today in the evening at 7 p.m. That is